Hey, Sheila, wrong thing.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Covid money, miss you, we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth, the money, waste for must a man to statue. Say me like a catch you, but bigger than a figure you. Take the spit of money, girl, and say that it's not you. One day, the man above end up, him a got a bet. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% raise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile of it.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
Come me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The urgent the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, them rap and they down in our fever. Member bold money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me.
Or they treat the market man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
Or they treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the sun man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat policeman.
It burn me.
How them a treat soldier man.
It burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again.
Stibby-dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we love lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Good evening, and welcome to the People's Point of View. Thank you for joining us. It is your global television group. Welcome one and all. Good evening to my community of parity and St. Elizabeth, to my moderators, platform membership holders, viewers and subscribers, commenters and trolls. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us on this news carrying evening. We'll be carrying news this evening. Debbie Jervis, good evening, sunshine. Good evening, Natalia Freeman. Good evening, Marcia Thomas. JC. Good evening, Gloria Morris. Lilith Foster. Elaine Turner. Brittany L. Don Mel. Carlene Richards. Charlene Flowers. Millicent Jones. Good evening, all, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. They are talking. We want to listen, but we don't understand them because they're ooming and they're arming. They're not sure what they're talking about. We're not sure if they know what they're talking about. And because of all of that, Sandra Watkins Bailey, because of all of that, we are confused. Call Dr. Money Laundering Clarke and Dr. Fake Word of Mouth Contract, Christopher Tufton, Nifty Friend, Kevin Davis, Rupert Mitchell, Conjugality 4, Angela 48349. Call the thieving doctor, then rather be the doctor of cooking the books, the doctor of cooking the contracts, the market me doctor. Call them. Call the Consul General them and ask them, Dr. Det, call Dr. Det. Call the Consul General them and ask them, how no so dunce? How no get job? Who mark no book at school? Which part on the exam paper did you all and arm like that and pass an exam? Can somebody who've been to colleges and high schools and university help me to understand? If one can and arm on their exam paper and pass exam and get qualification, and arming and and arming, Ryan Pam mark them book. Ooming and arming to no ends, not understanding what they're saying, confused by what they're saying, confusing the public with what they're saying, leaving the public without any understanding of what the oomers and the armers and the money launderers are saying. Doctor and his pretty skin lady, bros, how are you? Lossam Riley. Like how you have good experience, Dr. Tufton, but when I say Nigel not good in a money laundering because for him, latest experience glaring in front of we right in a parliament when the report table, we realize, Nigel Clarke all I use dopey in a money laundering scheme. Abena Sarkodi, how are you? We realize, say Nigel all I use dopey in a money laundering scheme by renting empty building for dopey at night time. So we know Nigel good for money laundering. But we also know Dr. Tufton good pan it too. Dr. Tufton good pan money laundering. No, pian money launderer. But the thing we are to take note of, my people, Avalon Robin, Yvonne Riley, what we take note of? Remember when them silence we and quiet we down in a COVID. Remember there was looting and shooting all around in the public purse. You've just got to look at Dr. Mikey Abraham's article a couple weeks ago. Christine Gilbert, how you do? How things are turned around for you? You just got to look at Dr. Mikey Abraham's article a few weeks ago. And on the back of that, Zara Burton has also written an article that I think was released today, probing those issues as well. But Market Me Girlfriend will help in the money laundering scheme. Lindsay now answer no question neither. But I want to ask Dr. Tufton, how much money did you launder in the Jamaica move shenanigan that you also was promoting? Because we know when you promote something in a Dr. Tufton, just like we see when you promote debt, we realize you have funeral parlor or you have shares in a funeral parlor. So anything you promote, we know you benefit from it. So we want to know, in the Jamaica Move money laundering scheme, how much money we know you dash with whole heap in the COVID galangin. We know you just a dash left, right, and center. So you never even had time, Dr. Tufton, to put it down on paper. You just call up an old friend, just about any cowboy, Dr. Tufton, and you dip in the public purse and give them whatever you want, telling them how much to give you back out of it, Dr. Tufton. How much money did you launder on the Jamaican Move exercise? Kevin Fair Clutch. How much money, Dr. Tufton, did you launder? I know we can put a proper tab on the amount of money you laundered in COVID. Althea, how are you? We can't put a figure upon the amount of money you laundered in COVID, Dr. Tufton, because some of them, there is no paper trail for it. Throughout government, you don't have a bespoke accounting software system. You still do things in a book and in an Excel spreadsheet. Yes, and that a government accounting system. And so the department them do them accounts the old-fashioned way in a hardcover book per computer. In a hardcover book per computer. And so government asks anybody will work. McLean. Ask anybody will work in a government, in the accounts department, in the finance departments all across government, in the payroll department all across government. Colin Jones, how are you? Your hardcover book galangin, an Excel spreadsheet galangin, which anyone who will work in the administrative spheres knows that them something there, especially your Excel spreadsheet, easily altered and manipulate. When you want pitch in something or you want pitch out something, if you alter it to how you want, you can easily add anything you want to your Excel spreadsheet. That's the accounting in government right across the public service. Right across the public service. So like a top chopper like Dr. Tufton, get out of the paper and pen, Get out of the paper and pen, can you know me a dunce. Good dunce, and a bossy dunce. Good Jamal dunce when it come to maths. Get out of the paper and pen. Because we are mount up every penny what we hear about. We keep we eye upon every penny what we hear about. Because we know if we government them have a track record of thieving family in the middle of chaos, pandemics, and disaster. So now that a whole heap of we out here feel look, Richard Reed. And when I did just little jump away look, all of we have eye. All in our finger now we have eye, a look. So we will keep a track on every penny. Take out on a pen, because I go mark them down or I go write them down in here tonight. Members say the UN, from the UN fund, them I get 2.5 million US dollar. Write that down. 2.5 million US dollar. Britain pledged some money. Britain pledged $500,000. We are going to split between the different countries them in the region. We know when we get that the amount there, we will tally it up. But Dr. Lyad, this is what Dr. Lyad said. So mount up this year too. The Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility will receive a payout of 16.3 million US dollars from that. The government also said it's taking 4.5 billion from the disaster and which other fund. Both of those money mount to 4.5 billion. On keep tabbing. On check this thing them want to know me can't check. No, ask me how much it be. Because know me I done. Tash, how are you? Colleen Jones, Sheena Kelly, Richard Reed. So mark them down because we are keep a track, Ralph and Henry, upon every single penny what we hear say pass through their hand. We don't hear how much EU and Canada are get. But we know so them are going to get pittance and pittance from all both. If leeching want 300 million, leeching got thief it. Ask your bank killer them leeching. Ask your accountant them leeching to roam across your organization and thief the 300 million give you. They can't say they're not used to it. Them can't say I know nothing what they ain't used to. They can't say I know nothing what they haven't done before. So get your bank till them for thief. Your bank till them know how for thief. Otherwise, poor people money. Your staff them leeching know how for thief. Otherwise, poor people money wouldn't just get up and walk out of your bank so without any explanation. So if you want 300 million, thief it. And I want to appeal to those of you in the diaspora. Oh, there's something there. And now I go keep it long on screen. I go show you. Don't tell me this was not rolled up. That Hurricane Assistant Recovery with the Jamaica High Commission in London. I look when I tell you keep it on screen long. If anybody go see it. I'm appealing to those of you in the UK diaspora. Don't give not even 1 penny to the Jamaican government, Michelle Lewis Wilson, Monica Wells. Not 1 penny. If you are going to help your community, look for a project in your community that is assisting residents. Find an organization, a community organization that is assisting your community if you want to donate. If you want to donate to Jamaica, find a reputable community organization, Althea Johnson, that is assisting the people to donate to. We can't hand over our money to government, given their track record. Of course, we must help our people at home, Sharon Terrell. But we cannot hand over our government or money to government or financial institution such as the National Commercial Bank. Them are thief, make them go thief it. Them know how to thief money. Them know where to thief money from. So if them want to help the people, them don't come stress out poor people. Figure send them money, what them are going to use and pay administrative staff and all sort of staff. And when you find the short, just about nothing gets on the ground to the people who need it. Don't we all remember the Bill and Hillary? Don't we remember the Clinton Foundation? So don't think we're going to keep our eye on for all of these money. We're going to go collect from all over the world for the rebuilding efforts. And then people across Jamaica is been maligned by bureaucracy. We'll keep our eye out. The easy jerk word, what go on, bro? We'll keep our eye out, not a penny to the high commissions, nor the embassies, nor any organization linked to government or any financial institution. Where every day we wake up, we hear certain thief from poor people. Come together as a community and let it be done through the community and not through government or private sector. When them open money there are donated to foundation, your money goes into the upkeep of the foundation and paying staff at the foundation. It really, that's why I don't get involved in charity on roadside, where you see all these different organizations on roadside that collect for this and I collect for that. 90% of your donation goes into administrative fee and staff salary. If at all, very little gets on the ground to the people. At times we stop rely upon these people, Ronald B., how are you? And do things on our own. Do things as a community rather than continue to put with trust in a thieving governments. Lyndon Green. So not take no money get to leeching or the embassy them. Come together as a community, both at home and in the diaspora, with a community organization within your community, with transparency, and accountability can use any resources gathered by diasporans to assist those communities in the rebuilding effort. Jacqueline Murray. And not to the government at family. We have long history of them doing so. So therefore, we have every reason, one, to be careful, and two, to keep an eye on what is going on. I want to, I don't think we do it already, provide you an update to a broadcast that White Yardie did with regards to Pelican Bar. The bar that was destroyed or washed away was not Pelican Bar. There's another bar within the vicinity at another reef close by. That was the bar that was damaged. But Pelican Bar withstood. Most of the effects would be to the pier of it, but it by and large withstood the force as wind and wave would pass through such structure easily. There's also a floating bar in Ocherous. No, the Pelican Bar is not a floating bar. There's also a floating bar in Ocherous, which was severely damaged as well. But I want to provide you some painstaking update, which I think we need to listen to because they will probably become useful in the future. But let's listen to the New York Consular General in an interview of Omen and Armin.
0988. Good day and a warm welcome to everyone. Today in studio with us we have a very special guest, Consul General of Jamaica, Alcyon Wilson. So lovely to have you with us, Miss Wilson. How are you today?
I am fine, thank you. Thanks for asking and thanks for having me on.
Of course. So Hurricane Beryl just passed through Jamaica. Looking at overall impact and response, can you describe the immediate impact of Hurricane Beryl on Jamaica and the primary actions taken by the government in response to the destruction?
Yes, thank you. The most recent update that we have received from Jamaica is that there have been, thank God, although two is too many, there are 2 fatalities. We have 2 persons that passed due to the hurricane. We have suffered significantly infrastructure damage from within few of our parishes, namely Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Many of our roads are still blocked. About 60 to 65% of the island is still without power, and of course.
I'll take a break from the Omen and Armin. I want to ask the Prime Minister an important question. Has there been a JDF helicopter crash that hasn't been found with a missing pilot that isn't spoken about by the government, Prime Minister, or in the media? While you're the Minister of Defense, Prime Minister, you're the one that is most appropriate to answer this question. Has there been a crashed slash missing helicopter and its pilot, Prime Minister? Is there anyone in Jamaica who is aware of such situation which has not been spoken about by the government, the military, or the media? Is there, Prime Minister? Just asking, Prime Minister Holness, today is what date? The 8th of July. I'm just asking, Prime Minister, has there been a recent JDF helicopter crash, accident, missing? Is there? I'm just asking. Cousin Jay, how you do? Good evening. But let's continue to listen to the ooming and arming of the Consular General. Come in, I know who marked them book at school.
The government and JPS, the Jamaica Public Service, is working tirelessly to try to restore power to our nationals on the island. We have about 1,000 persons who are currently in shelters right across the island. I just got off a meeting with a group of our elected officials here in New York, as well as the Commissioner of International Affairs, Commissioner Mermelstein, and I've asked for assistance to be granted from Connecticut, as well as PFCNG in New Jersey, to see if we can get some technicians to go down to Jamaica to assist. And while we're on the topic of Jamaica, we also have to, we cannot lose sight of the fact that our sister islands, Grenada and St. Vincent, and even Barbados, have significantly been impacted from the hurricane as well.
So you mentioned the diaspora. Many members of the Jamaican diaspora have expressed concern about their loved ones in Jamaica. How is the Consulate General addressing these concerns and providing timely updates?
Right. So we, unfortunately, of course, many of our nationals and citizens in Jamaica, their telephones, lines are down, not working. We had set up a toll-free number, which is up on our consulate website, where persons can call us and, and give us information as it relates to their loved ones that they're trying to get in touch with, that they haven't heard from, whether it's, there are some persons that are there on vacation in Jamaica and their loved ones are not able to get in touch with them. And so we're pulling that information together. And then what we do is send the information down to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade to see if they can make contact with these persons in Jamaica that family members in the diaspora are unable to reach.
Can you elaborate on the role of the emergency hotline and the type of information and assistance it provides to the diaspora?
Right. So we're having, it's important to note that we're having an emergency diaspora meeting today at 3 p.m. We'll have mostly leaders from our Jamaican diaspora that will be on the call, and so that we can ascertain, we can not only give an update on what the needs are. We're still waiting on the needs list from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Hopefully we'll have that list by our 3 p.m. meeting, but also we'll be able to ascertain the help that we can offer to Jamaica. For example, there are a group of doctors. There are several foundations that have called us via the hotline to let us know that they are willing to go down to Jamaica to assist There are several doctors, nurses who would like to go down. There are actually even calls from our clergy members who have asked if they can go down to offer any type of assistance as well. And so we're putting together sort of a matrix, if you will, of what the needs are, and then how our diaspora can assist with activating the needs list.
Given the destruction of Hurricane Beryl, what lessons have been learned from Hurricane Beryl that can improve future
Me never want to hear about our lesson. In psychology, the umming and arming is the brain structuring the lie or making it up as they go along, because you don't have a structured answer to provide. Then the brain goes on a search of trying to make up a structured answer as they go along. So the umming and arming is to buy time to make up the structure. Donnet, Andrea, Violet Watson, Jean Wright, Ubuntu, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. So it's just make it up as them go along. But the chapter which I'm referring to, who said? Carlene Jones, that's not the one that Andrew traveled in. My understanding, it was a JDF pilot flying single Baron Muir. Good evening. But if anyone is aware of a down JDF helicopter that is missing and its pilot, that the government isn't speaking of or giving any information of, the media either don't know of or not speaking of, let us know. Let us know. But while tonight a news carrying night, there's more umming and arming that you will have to tolerate. Dr. Nigel Clarke, Dr. Money Laundering, is the purse holder for the country. Dr. Clarke is the one that's going to disperse and control and launder, clean, wash, rinse, and manipulate the entire project when it comes to who get what and how it is done. Nicola Williams, what sort of unenduring bureaucracy, Valerie, one will have to go through in order to access any assistance in the rebuilding phase. But Dr. Clarke will explain the phases to you. Dr. Clarke spoke to Emily Shields and RJR this morning, but I never all I hit me catch. So, me record from which part me start hearing. So, you're going to have to tolerate some of the Dr. Umming and arming. It is relevant to the situation. We may need to remind Dr. Clarke that you said so.
A plane into the air, it landed in a tree, and it stayed there for what must have been what seemed like weeks. All right, it stayed there for a long time because it was not, it was not relief, it was not emergency. Yeah, in a disaster, you have emergencies, as we can see and as we look across the landscape. And what we want is to have the resources on hand to deal with emergencies and to deal with recovery. Reconstruction, you can plan. You can, put that into budgetary forecasts and put this in your public investment program and plan as to how and when you're going to reconstruct that. So that in a way that does not interrupt or put your fiscal trajectory off track.
Let me ask you this, because as you talk about the recovery mode, is the government prepared to advance any sort of support financially or otherwise to JPS to help with the reconnection efforts across the island still outstanding?
Okay, that's a tricky one. The resources of the government are not intended to subsidize private companies. JPS is a private company in which the government has an interest.
Right, I'll stop here and I'll respond to Dr. Clarke in regards to this in private law, in public law. JPS, Dr. Clarke, and to anyone else who's confused about this, JPS is privately owned. That may be factual. But this can be contested and would be supported by precedents in British public law. It is privately owned, but JPS is a public company. Why is it a public company? JPS provided a service which is needed and required by all Jamaicans. JPS has no competition, Dr. Clarke. JPS, Dr. Clarke, monopolizes that market. Therefore, in public law, Dr. Clarke, JPS is a public company which the government, Dr. Clarke, still have shares in, which the government, Dr. Clarke, by virtue of the service it's provide, can take JPS into administration. Given we are in a catastrophe, Dr. Clarke, JPS is a public company. It's a public body, rather. It is a public body. It is privately owned, but it is a public body, Dr. Clarke. Get legal advice on that. JPS has no competitor in Jamaica. JPS provides a service, Dr. Clarke, to the public. Therefore, in public law, JPS is a public body. Even though privately owned, it is a public body, Dr. Clarke. Please get legal advice on that. Valerie Alexander. That is an argument I'm yet to understand, Nicola. Is the Jamaican Public Service saying that if you have an outstanding bill, your light will not be reconnected in this disaster? I would like to be clear on that. Sorry. Janet Jones, Janet Mundy. Let's continue listening to Dr. Book.
To the extent that JPS needs resources as a private company, it can get resources in a private market, private credit markets, or it can raise money from its shareholders, which includes the government, If there were a call for raising equity from shareholders, then yes, the government could participate in that. But, regular sort of subsidies to a private company, that would not be the first call on resources, yeah? That wouldn't be the first call.
But with the impact of on productivity, of the absence of electricity, and the obvious need for assistance in parishes like St. Elizabeth and so forth, what sort of support can government provide even for private entities such as the Light and Power Company?
let me tell you something that we are, yes, what we can do, Emily, JPS had a challenge with their LNG facility, which is a major production facility. LNG is highly flammable, can be a dangerous fuel, and it's stored in a floating vessel off the coast of Clarendon, near to the plant. When the hurricane began to make its way, that vessel filled with LNG had to leave for safer harbor. Having a vessel filled with liquefied natural gas in the midst of a hurricane could create a disaster of its own. Having that vessel leave Jamaica, JPS had to switch to ADO, which is diesel oil. And diesel oil does not benefit from the same doesn't have the same tax benefits as LNG. And
this is inconsiderate at a time like now, though. At a time like now, when people are at an economic disadvantage, where people with them little ice cream business, them lose because it melt out. Fish vendors with them fish, poultry farmers, whatever, pluck them chicken and have it pan freezer and all there's something there. The few little generators across the country sell out. Even a lot of the fish vendors in my community is struggling to get generator now. Two of my sister must manage to get two. At a time like now, when people have lost so much, the government and JPS would want to sabotage Jamaicans, Dan Fox, Claudette Robinson. The government will curiosity kid, how are you? The government are going to sabotage poor people. No, sir. Caring and kind government, Lilith Lockerbie. Caring government. A government that cannot see beyond or through disaster. A government that cannot see, because the government as a shareholder can give directives to JPS under the Disaster Risk Management Act. Uno can force with it. Don't make a ball for murder tonight. Uno can force with under the NRA or whatever this thing or acronym name to sit down and shut up. So uno can use it to tell JPS in this unfolding catastrophe where Jamaicans have lost so much. Jamaicans with them small business, fish vendor, poultry farmer, ice cream vendor, and all sorts of people who realize on refrigeration to keep them business, all of them liquor, restaurant and supermarket and corner shop, all of the household where they meat and everything pile off. You mean to say the government and the Jamaica Public Service would go on a drive to even sabotage the people further? Caring and kind government. I hope they don't say that we're all in it together. I hope they don't pick up that British phrase and tell us we're all in it together. Caring and kind government. No, sir.
The reason for that is that it's dissuasive, right? We don't want JPS to have the incentive to use ADO, right? Because ADO is more expensive for Jamaica.
Just hold on for me. Just hold on. I'm so sorry. I have to take a break and come back, Minister. Thank you, listeners. We're back with Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke. We're in the recovery phase. He's saying that there are different phases: relief, recovery, reconstruction. So I've asked him what sort of support can the government provide to JPS. He's acknowledged JPS is a private company, so it's a bit tricky to do that. But he's giving us a scenario in which support has been had by JPS from the government. You're talking about the LNG and then the diesel oil, Minister.
Right. So let me just say that obviously JPS is under the portfolio of the Ministry of Energy, and I think they have been doing a good job in updating the public on the return of electricity. What falls in my domain, as I was explaining to you, that the ADO is a less attractive fuel for Jamaica, and so there's a disincentive for JPS to use it, and therefore the tax considerations are different. In the advent, however, of a natural disaster, when due to no fault of their own, LNG is not available, right? For the safety of Jamaicans, the LNG storage vessel has been moved out of Jamaican waters. The JPS has reached out to say, could we favorably consider providing a waiver on the use of ADO to power their station to the benefit of the Jamaican consumer? And that is something that we are favorably considering.
Okay.
So that is something that the government can do, government is inclined to do. And I'll issue something more definitive later to confirm that that's the direction we're moving in.
What about for NWC?
Well,
It's our company.
NWC is a fully owned Jamaican entity. And again, that falls under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. And again, I believe that they've been doing a great job in getting that back on track and informing people. But, we could look at things that making sure that the pumping stations have generators and possibly go out and procure some of those. There's, things like that can be done to aid the recovery effort.
Yes. So based on the policy notice you've had concerning the tropical cyclone policy, give me an idea as to whether in the new dispensation, in the new insurance cycle, we're going to be looking at increased premium for that one. Or how do the premiums go? Who pays? I know you say Canada and the World Bank have some input.
No, the premium we pay. But I know that Canada has provided a lot of assistance.
Yes. How much do we pay? We pay per year, per month, quarterly, what? Under the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Fund.
We pay annually.
Yes.
For the Caribbean Catastrophe, we pay a premium annually. I don't have the figure on me, but, it's certainly over $1 billion. It's,
Over $1 billion Jamaican.
Yes.
And
I don't want to be...
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, it's over $1 billion, between 1 and 2. I can't remember exactly how much it is.
And how long now have we been paying the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance?
We have been paying that for several years. And we have even increased our...
Jeanette, with regards to the generator, you can check on Amazon. You would find all of those on Amazon or eBay. And I'm told that the best one for those purposes to source is the 11,500 volt. I'm told if you're sourcing a generator, the best possible one is a 11,500 volt. But you can find those on Amazon, though.
Our limit. Here's the thing about insurance, though, Emily. Again, the CRIF is the fourth layer, right? So the first layer has to trigger, the second has to trigger, the third has to trigger, the fourth. Some natural disasters will only trigger your first layer. Some will trigger your first and second. Others will trigger your first, second, and third. And some, like Beryl, will trigger first, second, third, and fourth. And then, God forbid, we don't want... I know everybody wants to see the cat bond sort of triggered, but we really don't want that to Emily.
No, of course not. I know
because
that.
The reason why we have it is that we cannot leave ourselves exposed to that kind of damage. But if you could guarantee me that it's not going to happen, then we wouldn't need it. If you could say to me, there's no way next year we're going to have, a high intensity category 4 or category 5, then, we could do away with it. Anyway, I went off track.
So this.
Let me teach you wickedness by ear, Janet. When you buy, you use something scratchy hit up. And you get tar, and you tarry hit up. So all same things. So the import tax only less than on if you learn how to wicked when I deal with wicked people. All right.
This 2.5 billion payout that we're getting,
yes,
under the tropical cyclone, this is a trigger of what level of
gas is more expensive. Battery would be a cleaner energy because the gas there is a risk of carbon monoxide poisoning if not stored properly outside. So the battery one, or my advice to people is to invest in solar panel. It is much cheaper to maintain than a generator. Those of the people in my community who have solar panel, they survive their solar panel, weathered the storm. You can also remove them and erect them after the storm. I do advise solar panel. It's a cheaper and cleaner, easier to maintain energy source. So I always preferably advise in our 24-hour hot sun in Jamaica, solar panel is cheaper and better maintainable. Loris Beckford, how you do? So that is my advice. I'd rather, because solar panel, you can get on Amazon as well. You can get it where it come with the whole settings, the battery, the storage, and all of them thing there. You look for the one with the highest volt, like in the Galang in Sour. And so, and you look for the one we have the 240 watt capacity Galang in. I would advise that above the generators.
the policy?
The policy has a limit of $80 million. It's 20% of the policy limit.
Okay. So it's a very low level trigger then.
Yes, it's a low level trigger. Consistent with what we know
Right.
about the storm.
And I was asking you, so we pay premium annually of about $1 billion for
It's
that.
over $1 billion.
Over
yeah.
$1 billion. Do you anticipate there will be an increase with the payout we are now getting of $2.5 billion?
So you mean, let's say we kept the coverage exactly the same, whether there will be more, it will cost more?
Yes.
I'm not. Let me say this: interest rates have as much of an impact on premium, right, as probabilities. And it might be that when we come to renew, we're in a different interest rate environment,
Yes.
which counteracts or acts as which neutralizes any sort of risk-based increase. But remember that these models that either the CRIF who provide that insurance or cat bond investors, the models that they use are based on 100-year databases, right? The databases of 100 years of storms emerging in the Atlantic and making their way across the Caribbean. So it's unlikely that one event, and especially an event that is not, while terrible for sections of the island, is not devastating on a national basis.
I understand, but the
It's
point
unlikely-
is, the point is at the
unlikely.
moment you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm giving an opinion that's
Yeah.
unlikely to significantly impact it.
All right. So I suppose later on in the week you will be able to tell us how much you're using out of the 7 billion that is now available to you for recovery effort. Yeah.
Yes. So we might, just to make listeners aware, just to be clear, right? We may, allocate or reallocate aspects of the budget. That's always a possibility. So when we talk about how much, I'll be very clear when I speak about what our expenditure is going to be, what the sources of it are, right? So some sources will be from disaster risk financing sources. Others will be, from, other things that we have to do with the budget. So I'll be very clear on that.
Okay.
One thing that we have to, as I've been at pains to point out, we've got to leave something, right, in the event that there are other natural disasters to come our way between now and November.
Okay, so I suppose whatever we spend now, bearing that in mind, we may have some sort of supplementary budget post-November to do whatever else is left. Yes, to rethink. Yes. All right. I have to go. I had a caller last week, though, who complained that in your constituency,
some people in Jamaica have the 210 watt Ransford. A lot of houses in St. Elizabeth have the 210 capability where we can use the same type of plug where we use in England in some of our houses. So we have that capability.
you're in Northwest St. Andrew, yeah?
Yes.
That there is a gully in the vicinity of Maynard Avenue, Hemmingsway, Crescent, Milton Avenue to Shakespeare. That gully has never been cleaned, and he theorizes it's because those people really don't vote Labour. But there's another gully, Sherlock Gully, that is always clean, and the people up close to Sherlock Gully, they vote Labour. Can you say anything about those two gullies?
I heard about that call when it occurred, and I checked it out. I got in touch with the councillor for that division. Clearly, we have an organization of 3 councillors in my constituency with whom I work very closely. And, he informed me that was not an accurate portrayal. The drains that are selected for cleaning are drains that are in need of being cleaned. And there are some drains and gullies that get affected more than others. And there has been a response to drains that need to be cleaned. And to the so
he says the one at Maynard Avenue, it needs to be cleaned, and it has never been cleaned.
Well, that's not true that it has never been cleaned. That's not accurate.
You know when last it was cleaned?
I wouldn't have that information on me, but as I said, I checked with the councillor. Remember, I'm not.
I love to talk to the councillor, Minister. If you can send me the contact for the councillor so I can get some more specific details, I'd be grateful. Yeah?
Sure.
Yeah.
That was a very mischievous claim.
It doesn't matter. I can only say the mischief of it when I get the facts that I want from the councillor. So please let me have that information, will you?
No problem.
All the best to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you're welcome. Finance Minister Nigel Clarke. I really want to hear what the schedule is for the cleaning of gullies. I mean,
You stay there, runs for Jamaican people up to date. Them have the converters here. When you go to Jamaica families can provide your converters if you no member. If you carry your converter plug from foreign. You stay there, Jamaica people up to date and foreign.
we can make all the claims we want, but factually, how much money is allocated by when? I know we normally go with the hurricane season, and we don't typically have a hurricane developing in June. So gullies may not be cleaned before June. And you may have 3 cleans down to December, and then January, February down to May. at least once. I believe the gullies should be cleaned, even though the hurricane season properly gets active August, September in Jamaica, based on the historical context.
That's how they end. But I have to play for no, because I don't know what Nigel talk about. No, Ransford, my mother house is wired for 210 volts. My sister house is wired for 210 volts. We have two separate plugs in our house. We can use the British plugs and we can use the American plugs. Many houses in Jamaica in the modern days have that type of wiring. Max Romeo, you come back with a disrespectful galangin. Are you sleeping with Sulfur, Max Romeo, or is it someone Vegas is sleeping with? Do you know? Can you provide that information to us? Is it you, Vegas, or any of the other accomplices that is sleeping with him? Would you be able to know? And would you be able to tell us which one of you he's relaxing at hotel with? Whether be you, Vegas, or Imhotep, or Chopper John, or Heroi Clarke, we just want to know. Since as you have the information, since Max Romeo, you have the information, tell us who he's relaxing at the hotel with. Could it be Chopper John? Could it be Heroi Clarke? Could it be Vicky King, the widow? Could it be the Brokeback Mountain Bullhorn Blower Imhotep? Which is it? Just let us know. We don't mind listening to the names, you see. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Onto Sulfur. Hot off the press. Good evening and welcome. How are you? How are you doing, sis? If Sulfur was arrested with a prop gun, an imitation gun, is it an imitation gun which is a replica? Or is it an imitation gun which is being modified and would have become a dangerous or deadly weapon? Is a question of concern. Paula Shelley. Is a question of concern as to whether he was arrested with a prop gun which was a deadly weapon or an imitation weapon. We understand he was on bail reporting. The question is, has he been remanded or has he been convicted? We were told he's not yet charged. If that is facts, Annie Jones, then he would be on remand. The question would then raise as to why his bail condition was revised. And if the young man the Prime Minister referenced to that was trapped has anything to do with Sulfur, until we know, Millie McBean, the facts of Sulfur's arrest, charge, pending charge, or conviction. It is for one in media land to speculate, given the Prime Minister's utterances a few or sometime last week or so. Sharon Pitt, it is not a problem for us to speculate. Given the Prime Minister utterance, given how the video was released, of course, one have to ask question as to what Sulphur knew, what Sulphur withheld from the public before he preset the video to release. There is also a need to ask the question as to if he is not yet been charged, and if he is sticking to his bail condition, why would the court revise and withdrew his bail condition if he has already been charged? Has he been convicted? Has he been set up? Is he being scapegoated? Until we know the facts, Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, Commissioner of Police, it is for us in Media Land. It is for any one of us to speculate, to ask questions, to make connections with the Prime Minister's utterance, the threat coming from the Prime Minister's social media warriors and vloggers being arrested, detained, or imprisoned. Until, Yvonne Green, there are the facts, then we're going to continue to ask questions. We're going to continue to ask questions until justifiable answers are presented, whether be from Sulphur's family or from the state, which would be the causes of his liberty. So somebody need to quell the speculation, because we're not going to stop ask and we're not going to stop talk. So the quicker somebody come out and come out, come quell the speculation, come provide factual answers, we are going to continue to speculate. We're going to continue to ask questions. We're going to continue to highlight the issue, because we have been threatened openly and told by the Prime Minister that vloggers are being tracked. Young people are being tracked. We have been threatened by the Prime Minister's social media warriors that they are standing outside of our houses from the tracking information of the Prime Minister. They have identified our houses and turn up out of a window, push bamboo tick, and a part of a curtain, and a look what we in there do. There are also Peter King trained follow back a man vlogger creeping up behind other vloggers, threatening them. Vlogger who holds social media warrior, government social media warrior, who are firearm holder and carrier. Uno don't say them a provoke and intimidate with. Uno don't say provocation and intimidation is what they're doing. But by no means we're going to succumb to any threat, any tracking, any intimidation will not work. What you're going to do is wake up tantamount away. The minute you try to silence us, you're going to wake up tantamount away. And to Dr. Crook, we are watching you. Every penny we keep with eye on. We know some are good thief. We know some are bare-faced thief. We know some are shameless thief. We know say we know long pocket, stretch gut thief. Can't nobody can't fool you know. Fool nobody can't fool. So we'll watch the money them. Because what we want that money to do is to rebuild people's life across Jamaica. Rebuild our agricultural sector across Jamaica. Rebuild our forestry across Jamaica. For the first time this morning, we managed to have a conference call with our brother in Jamaica. One off. And his description was woeful. One of the things he said, he would rather go to his grave than go into another storm like this again. Him said the only thing in the community really withstood the storm was coconut tree and marras grass. He said, other than that, if burial couldn't root you up, burial pop off every limb drop outside of you. He said, if burial couldn't root you up, burial shake off every fruit drop outside of you. He said, every noise where you can think of in the world at high pitch come with burial, but all of them are going at the same time. One of my cousins described it as one whole heap of big truck coming. But the people of Jamaica, the people on the southwest, the southern coastline, had a terrible experience in the last few days. They have lost a lot of the women in my community are fish vendors. We have them fish storage. Those who can't get fed by a generator because generators sell out across the country, them lose them livelihood and them principles and profit. A lot of people need assistance to rebuild back them small business. A lot of people need assistance to rebuild their houses, rebuild their lives, rebuild our economy or farming infrastructure, especially in St. Elizabeth there, where the farming get really badly beat up. And now scallion and cabbage and melon and them something they are go expensive, like how it a go and scarce. The mango season just come to an abrupt end. Guinea season just come to an abrupt end. Banana mash up, breadfruit just there they are go on so I roll down gully. There has been a major damage to various different things, parts, and people. And what we're asking the government and Dr. Clarke, the purse holder, for once, please use the money for the intended purpose to rebuild Jamaica and Jamaicans' lives. Please, may I beg you, for once, use the money for the intended purpose. both wanna take out a disaster risk and wanna shift round the budget. David, how are you? Whether or not take money from an area which is not priority for now and push it round here so it boost up the disaster budget. Whatever you get from Britain, whatever you get from the Caribbean Catastrophe Fund, whatever you get from the UN, we pledged for them amount already. We don't hear what the EU, Canada, and the US agreed when for Britain 500,000 share up, we will know how much you get. We're asking that the money be spent wisely on Jamaica's rebuilding and not benefit the private sector. The private are gonna friend them with all sort of contract here, there, and everywhere. So we're beg on you. Just see that uno rich, neither on a pocket, nor no bank can hold no more. Every time when you go on to bed at night time, repeat it 10 times before you fall asleep. My pocket nor my bank cannot hold any more money. That may help on you keep on your hands off of poor people money. So for once in our life, we can see a proper project done that benefit the people of Jamaica. And neither we, nor the Auditor General, nor nobody, nor have to harangue on in a public over with money. Linden Green, how are you? Nobody in a public don't have to harangue on over how the money spent. We just a beg and we just a hope that Uno can have a change of heart given the dirty track records all of you have. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. Anytime Nigel start share up and portion up and talk where I get the money from, anyone on here before me, understand, can tell me, make we count up, Christopher. Make we count up how much money in all Nigel are going to have for the rebuilding efforts across the country. And to those of our globalists in Jamaica who are not back online yet, we hope that things will continue to progress and that the entire Jamaica will be able to be back online soon. So our globalists like Cousin Mern, Beat and Teach, British R and Tony R, Christine Gilbert is back. Arlene Foster is in and out. But we're hoping and wishing that all our people will be back on soon and have access to power soon. And this should also put us in a phase where we are thinking futuristically. How do we plan for the future? How do we plan to deal with another catastrophe that may happen like this again, or even at a lesser space, because the hurricane, the category 1 landfall in Texas left over 1 million people without electricity. So even at a lesser severity, we can suffer a lot of power loss What might happen, though, is there wouldn't be the extensive damage as what was done to the country this time. But nevertheless, I think a solar panel drive is a safer and cheaper way to go for Jamaicans. Because generator, if you run generator in a disaster, you know, all day, you have to buy about $5,000 to $10,000 worth of gas on a daily basis to keep drenching the generator. With the solar panel, all sun need to do is to come up a morning time and your problem solved. All sun need to do is come up a morning time and your problem solved. So on that basis, my advice to the Jamaican people would be invest in solar panel. In the long run, it saves you money. It stops JPS from ripping you all off. If you invest in that, it will drive JPS into a pickle because they will have less people to rob from. And it will be between them and the big corporate people them. But independently, Jamaicans, you all need to invest in solar panel. I guarantee you in the long run, it saves you from those tumultuous JPS estimated bills, as well as the anxiety of an overdue bill, line being cut off, pay the excess fee to have line being put back on. Once you buy your solar panel and have them erected, your money problem with energy sourcing is over. Your money problem with energy sourcing is over. But if you buy generator, you still have an awful lot of money to spend. So think wisely. Think wisely. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. It was lovely having you all tonight. Join us back here tomorrow for your At a Glance program, when we will continue to look at the development happening in our country and around the Caribbean. Thank you all very much for being here. Good night and good luck from Global Television. Anthony R., well gone, bro. You just come. Me I said a while. Only not too there because of the power issue, but me I go here now. You can watch the thing again. Thank you all very much. Welcome, bro.